Bang! Neeves knives. I'm Jared. My lovely wife Kara's couch surfing, and today I am doing my first impressions on an XM18 3.5 inch. First time ever getting to check one of these babies out. I did check out the 3-inch, but I literally just opened it. I just didn't want you guys to see the information or anything like that. I got this in for a sharpening job, and yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, I know why people love Hinderers so much. I mean, they're just so damn solid. I mean, I'm guessing this one's on the bearings. Let's find out. I will probably do a follow-up video after this. I'm not sure. I might not, because I don't have this in for a review. I have this in for sharpening, but I just wanted to do a first impressions, and oh yeah. I mean, I'm very, very excited to get to check this baby out. Oh, that action, the ergos. This is obviously the Warncliffe. Let's check out this edge really quick. Because like I said, I just opened it up, so I haven't really seen what the damages are. Okay, see, you know, this is, oh yeah, this was sent to me by Bob DeMarco from Knife Junkie Podcast. I will link the podcasts below. We've been on there many times. Great guy, love the guy to death. He's an awesome guy, but he likes to break the tips off of his Warncliffs. Which, you know, that's the one thing with Warncliffs. If you drop them, you know, they're usually, I mean, depending on, I guess, how you drop it. But when it's open, if it hits the tip, it's going to chip off. Especially when you get nice, fine tips. And this isn't really, it's not like this is broken or anything, you know. It's not like it's broken this far or anything. This is just the very tip. But Bob DeMarco, he likes his tips nice and razor-like, so this affects him to his soul, and it bothers him very much. So I am going to give this thing a good, well-loved edge. Let's check this edge out. Yeah, I could tell it definitely needs a sharpening. I feel doesn't really have too many hiccups, but it just feels like it's not that sharp. Sharper on one side, so that means probably one side is probably a little bit bigger than the other side, which is pretty typical from factory edges. No big deal. Sorry if I'm whipping this thing around a lot. Let me try to zoom in on it. There we go. Edges are very hard to get on camera unless if you use the magnifying glass, so that's why I like using the magnifying glass usually. And you can see the edge right here on the tip to where it is chipped off and rounded, so we will take care of that. I noticed this side has a bigger bevel than this side. No big deal. I will give this thing a lot of love. Very, very nice. I love this. Even though this is a choilless, or not choilless, but finger choilless, it does have a nice sharpening choil. But it has no finger choil. It gives you a little spot still to put your finger. I don't mind the jimping. Some people kind of complain about the jimping. I can tell why people would, because after flipping this thing so many times, this would start to get to your fingers, even with rough fingers like mine. Let's see if we can do a reverse flick. Very, very easy. I love the access. Oop. It's a little harder, I feel like, to do the thumb flick than the middle finger flick. Maybe that's just me. What was I about to say? I don't even remember now. Oh yeah, I love the access to the lock bar. Very easy access. And it's because it gives you this big old brute of an edge thickness right here. Look at them standoffs. Man, oh man. Nice lock bar insert, makes it very smooth to disengage. I can feel the strength in that lock bar though when I disengage it, which makes you feel like it's very reliable. Now some people say like when you drop it right here, landing right here kind of gets bothersome, and I could see that happening, but me, I always just grab the claw and I don't even hit those. I just go straight down. Maybe that's just me though. Nice smooth action. Very, very smooth. Yeah. Oh, I'm loving it. I definitely want to eventually get myself a Hinderer. You know, I just can't afford one right now, but eventually I do want to get one. You see, this one has the Jade G10, which in return, you could turn this any color you want to. Now, he could replace this scale with whatever scale he wants. I do like the JG10. I didn't used to, but then after getting a couple knives in JG10, I understand it a little bit more. It has a unique look, and it's just raw G10. That's all it is. It's colorless G10, and it makes it to where you can dye it. Now, there is no milling on the inside. At least I don't see any. Yeah, no milling really on the inside. I see one little hole right there. Let's see the balance. Check out the balance. Oh yeah, nice and balanced. You can feel it too when it's in hand. Man, this thing. Nice strong spine, strong tip. Jipping works well. The edge just needs to be tuned up, and that's what we are going to do. Ooh, this one's M390. We're going to have fun with that. I like getting a good blade steel. I can assure that we are going to get, especially coming from Hinderer, I expect this thing to have good heat treat. So I expect to be able to put a great edge on this thing. Yeah, buddy. You know what? I'm going to save this clip and I'm going to go sharpen it. And then I'm going to come back and show you the finished product. Peace. Okay, so this thing's all sharpened up, but I did have a little issue. So when you have to remove so much steel, because I did have to remove quite a bit of steel, and let me just be straight with this, I removed the exact amount of steel I was going to need to get this tip back to a very fine point. No more, no less. But I also ran into a problem where, because this is, even though it does have a choil, it's the finger choilless model. Now, I don't think I would have ran into this problem if it would have been the finger choil model. So, if you look, you see how close I am getting to the plunge grind. Like, if I go up any higher, I am going to create a smile on the plunge grind. So, to save myself from doing that and making a smile up onto this plunge grind here, I couldn't lay the edge back as far as I would have liked. So instead of, say, the edge being like this, how I would have liked, I had to basically make it like this. So at, like, I don't know, probably 22 degrees instead of, say, 17. Now, that makes it to where it's not as sharp as I would like at all. It'll cut receipt paper, it'll shave through paper and stuff, but it's not that fine edge I would like, and I absolutely could put that on this knife if I lay the edge back far enough, or if I just change my angle, right? If I just put my angle back a little bit and make it a little bit finer instead of like this to like this, then let me show you, my apex would go up higher and it would start running into here. So like say, instead of being where it's at right now, it would be maybe right here, which would in turn run into there. So, and also, I don't want to lay, even if I was going to lay it back, I don't want to lay it back too fine to the point to where this tip is finer than it needs to be. I want this tip to be a nice, fine, precision tip. But I also want it to be strong enough to score things. Because I don't want it to chip trying to score something. And it's a very fine, acute tip. Both the angles are very even. Everything looks very nice. It's a beautiful looking edge. I'm going to throw in some pictures really quick. But besides it looking decent, and not being a really big bevel or anything like that, it just doesn't, it doesn't, I want to make Bob happy, because I know Bob wanted a nice, very sharp edge on this, and that's what I want to put on here. But even though it is very possible, it's just not possible to put it on this knife without creating a smile right here, without going up onto the plunge grind. Everybody knows what that looks like. I will show you. Okay, so here is one right here. If you look, this is the Kershaw bare knuckle. You see how the edge is turning up onto there. It kind of creates a smile. If I can get it to show. And then here is a more a worse scenario, how it goes up like that. Now, I don't think it would be as bad as this, but I do think, though, it would come this way and then go up a little bit like that. Or, at the very least, it would at least hit it. So, even if my edge went all the way to there, it would go like how that is right there, across the edge. So it'd go just like that. And, so I can do it. It's not a problem. It's just, for the steel I had to remove to get rid of the chip tip. It is what it is, because they don't really leave you a lot of room or a lot of steel to remove while sharpening. Now, I don't know how much or how many sharpenings this would be like, or represent. I have no idea. I mean, if I had to guess, I would guess maybe 5 sharpenings, at most. So I don't think that that's a ridiculous amount of sharpenings to put on a knife that's a work knife, that's a Hinderer. Now, you could say that a lot of people wouldn't care. They would just go right into it, and they would sharpen all the way up till this was flat across here. So basically from here across. And then would just start sharpening into, there. Basically at an angle up it, not into the choil, but just up straight, if that made sense. So basically what I'm saying is I could sharpen up this way and attempt to not hit this, which is very hard, but to go up this way. So I'll bring my edge up this little channel, which is very difficult to not hit this plunge grind while you're getting, as close as you can to it. It's almost impossible. But if you look at the finger choil ones, they leave you a lot of room. I don't have one here, but something like this, where they give you the room to have your edge, and then to go up and up and up, farther up the blade, the more sharpenings you're just, taking out from here because the plunge grind is so far away. So even if I get all the way up to here, I'm still not hitting the plunge grind. So it is what it is. Now I might talk to Bob, and he might say, I don't care, I want it to be a razor blade. And I will say, not a problem, Bob. And I will lay that edge back to a respectable angle, and we'll make it as sharp as I possibly can. Now, I did put a 1200 grit edge on here, so this is still a sharp edge. I just want to make that known. This is still a sharp edge. It's just it's not the way I'd like it to be. It really isn't. I mean, it's sharp to the touch, but it's just not going to cut or bite into things as great as another one could. Now, the things I like about this knife, I do want to do a little, talk about this knife. I do like this knife a lot. There's a couple things I dislike about it, but there are a lot of things I like. I love the overall build. I love how strongly built it is. I like how Hinderer allows you to customize these however you want. I think that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. I do want to get a Hinderer of my own. I probably want to get the one with the finger choil and probably the slicer grind, and definitely the 3.5 inch. But I definitely want I'd probably get the drop point with the finger choil. Even if I got this one, I would want it with the finger choil. Just because of this whole sharpening thing. I don't like that I can only get so many sharpenings before my edge might start looking. I guess it's all in the eye of the beholder on what you think looks ugly and what doesn't. I personally don't really even think that looks ugly to have to sharpen into that, but I'd like to get more sharpenings out of it, so I definitely want the slicer grind with the finger choil. Anyways, another thing I dislike, this flipper tab, it is a little ridiculous. I don't mind this landing spot right here. I don't mind that so much. My fingers are very callous. My hands are very calloused. For me to get annoyed by, and because this thing has a strong detent, so I have another knife that has a very strong detent like this and has a flipper tab like this, except for they rounded this a little bit more to where it doesn't. It's more of a round. See, right now I'm just going to break the detent. Now look at my finger. I mean, that is crazy. So if you have to do this all day, you are going to, especially if this is your work knife, right? You work on a construction site, you do something that requires you to take your knife out of your pocket multiple times a day, you're going to start dreading, unless if you're wearing work gloves, which, let's be honest, just because you work construction or work whatever doesn't mean you wear work gloves all day. So, but I mean, I suppose you could always just change, your flipping action to the thumb stud action. But, also, there's a lot of different screws on here. And which is, I like the big hardware, so I'm kicking the camera. I love the big hardware, so I do not want anybody to think I don't like the hardware. I love all the different pieces. I love how mechanical it looks. I love how strong it looks. But you got the spanner bit, the flathead, the Torx, or should I say Allen, the Allen, the Phillips, and then I think that's another Allen. Yeah, that's another Allen right here. So, and then, more Phillips. So I would like to see it all just be one bit, one giant T10 or a T15 or something like that. Or if they're going to do Allens, make them all Allens. But yeah, very cool knife. Love the ergos. Love the overall build. I love the access to the lock bar. This is a great knife. I do really, really want one of my own. I definitely want one of the Gen 6s. I love the tri-way pivot. Yeah, badass knife. Let's look at a couple size comparisons really quick. We have the Strider Custom we have the... Oh, sorry, this is the Groot. The Strider Custom Groot. Or with the Groot finish, I should say. Then we have... Let me scoot this one up. Don't want these guys to touch. And then we have the Quest Custom Gent. And let's do a knife most people know. Here's the Doug Ritter. A lot of people know these Hinders, so I don't think I need to do too many. But there you go. You know what? A lot of people know the Spyderco Shaman. And even though it's just like the Doug Ritter RSK, here is the Benchmade Griptilian large. You can see the Benchmade Griptilian is just a tiny bit shorter, and then the Shaman's just a tiny bit longer. There you guys go. I love you guys. Peace.